All right, good morning. This is the Fantasy Sports Boss. It is Fantasy Football Week 3, early Sunday as I'm releasing this video. And of course, if you're not a subscriber and you don't have the notification button hit, you might miss out today because all throughout the day today with the games that are going to be on, live streamed. I'm going to pop in and out for some live streams. Also, instant injury reports when anybody goes down. I'll talk about the fallout about a minute and a half after it happens. And then tonight, 7:30 is the wrap-up show where you can come in. You can share your tales of woe or your conquering victories that you had today, and we could all discuss it together along with all the action that happened during the games. Now, I want to start off the day because I got some blowback of a statement I made a couple of days ago about T. Higgins when I said that T. Higgins is more valuable in fantasy football than Jamar Chase. Now, instantly the reaction was negative, and I totally understand why, because on the surface, how could you say that? Jamar Chase set all sorts of insane numbers last year as a rookie, just an instant star, and there's no doubt about it. I have no qualm with any of that. But the point that I was making, it's twofold. One is that while Jamar Chase was a mid-first round pick, T. Higgins was going as late as the late third round. And so on draft capital alone, two guys who I feel are comparably talented, Higgins was the better value. But then what I did is I dove in a little bit more, going back to last season when Higgins came back from injury for a November 21st game, all the way through week 2 of this season, throwing out week 1 because Higgins went out with an early concussion. I compared the two. Now, if you compare the per game numbers between T. Higgins and Jamar Chase going back to November 21st of last season, you're going to see some staggering numbers here in Higgins' favor. So November 21st, when Higgins came back from injury last season, only had 3.5 fantasy points. But Jamar Chase wasn't great either, 12.2. So Chase won that one for sure, even though both laid an egg in that game. So 1-0 for Chase in terms of per game numbers. Then the next week, November 28th, Higgins went off for 23.4, while Chase only 6.9, a win for Higgins. December 5th, 28.8 points for T. Higgins, only 10.2 for Chase. So another win for Higgins. That's 2-1 in his favor. December 12th, Chase won this one, 24.7 versus 16.4 for Higgins. So two each. December 19th, both laid a huge dud. Higgins 4.3, Chase 1.3. Hey, Higgins scored more points, so he gets the win there. So 3-2. Then this is where it really gets interesting. December 26th, 43.4 points for T. Higgins, 19.5 for Chase. So that's now 4-2 in favor of Higgins. And then January 2nd, of course, in the Super Bowl, 9.2 for Higgins, 4.6 for Chase, another win for Higgins. So heading into the season, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that's 5 games that Higgins came out on top fantasy points-wise, while Chase only did it twice in that same span when both were on the field healthy. Now, this season, of course, you throw out week 1 because Higgins left with an early concussion. But against Dallas last week, Higgins wins again, 19.1 fantasy points to 10.4 to Chase. So that's 6 games where Higgins outscored Jamar Chase in the last 8 times that they played again, on the field together, while Chase only came out with a better score twice. Including the first game. So, November 21st of last year when Higgins came back from injury, maybe there was a little bit of rust. So Chase won that one, even though it wasn't a great outing for both, 12.2 to 3.5. But from November, if you started from November 28th onward, Higgins wins 6 games, Chase 1 in terms of per game numbers. And then when you take into account the fact of the matter that Higgins was the better draft value in terms of where he was selected, the numbers don't lie, folks. And that was the point I was trying to make. I'm not taking anything away from Jamar Chase, but what we're seeing is Chase is getting double teamed a lot more than Higgins is. Higgins taking advantage of one-on-one matchups. And don't forget, Chase Higgins was the first pick as second round in 2020 out of Clemson. So he had just as much draft pedigree as other top receivers that have come out over the last couple of years. Maybe not to the height of Chase, but Higgins is a hell of a player, folks. No doubt about it. We talked about how the Bengals could have 2 wide receiver ones this season. It's certainly looking that way. And I'm going to be interested to see going forward if Higgins can maintain this advantage that he's had over Chase. So that was my whole point. All right, hit that subscribe, hit that notification button. We will chat later.